All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rekakwadash, Rekatham. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone very well, and a salute and a Shalom to all the Akim that are out here labor pushing this truth in all sincerity and in truth. This lesson is going to be titled Joseph Behaved Himself Wisely. Joseph behaved himself wisely, right? Now, there's an ancient custom I went into called striving lawfully, right? Striving lawfully. So we must strive lawfully in order to obtain rulership. See, we must strive lawfully in order for us to receive the crowns of life. Right? We must strive lawfully for us to be accepted of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Let me get this. Joseph's success in Egypt, right? Let's get this. This is Genesis 39 and 1. It says, and Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither, down to Egypt. It says, and Yahweh was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and it says, and that Yahweh made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had he put into his hand. Right? Now let's get the part where it say Joseph behaved himself wisely. Hold on. Let me get that. It says Joseph behaved himself wisely. Yeah. Right, man. Well, yeah. But Joseph still behaved himself wisely. Okay? So we must do the same thing, right? So we behave ourselves wisely, we'll be blessed. See, Joseph was blessed, right? And Joseph received what? Rulership in Egypt. Because it says here, right? It says, and it came to pass After these things, that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, Lie with me. But he refused, and said unto his master's wife, Behold, my master wotteth not what is with me in the house. He hath committed all that he hath into my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin in this great wickedness and sin against Yahweh? See, man. So this is Joseph. What, man? Him letting wisdom meet him at every thought. See. So we must be what? Circumspect. Joseph was what? Circumspect. He behaved himself wisely. And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her, to lie by her, or to be with her. Right, man? Now, even though Joseph was in prison over a lie that Potiphar's wife told, right? But Joseph was what? But Joseph was released from prison. Hold on. Yeah, this. It says, and it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, after this manner, did thy servant do to me? And that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a house where the king's prisoners were bound. And he was there in the prison, right? Because back then the prison was connected to the king's house. Okay. It says, but Yahweh was with Joseph and shewed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. Right, man? So Joseph behaved himself wisely, right? He received what? Mercy, man. It says, and the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison. And whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. See, man? So could nothing happen in the prison unless Joseph was okay with it, right? Unless Joseph approved it. It says before long, the warden put Joseph in charge, see, of all the prisoners, of all the other prisoners, over everything that happened in the prison. See, it says the keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because Yahweh was with him. And that which he did, Yahweh made it to prosper. See? Let's see. Let's see real quick. Hold on real quick. Okay, 41 and 14. Okay, Genesis 41 and 14, it says, Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon, and he shaved him and changed his raiment. And he came, it says, and came on, and it says, it came on into, says it came in unto Pharaoh, right? He stood before him. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard, it says, and I have heard say of thee, thou canst interpret, that thou canst understand the dream to interpret it. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. Yahweh shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, In my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river. Right? So let's keep on going. Here it is, right? It says, and and Pharaoh said unto his servants, Can we find such a one as this is, a man in whom the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Shai is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, Forasmuch as Yahweh hath shewed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. Thou shalt be over my house, and according to thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. All right, man. So by Joseph behaving himself wisely in the house of Potiphar, he received what? Rulership in Egypt. It says, Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. It says, You will be in charge of my court, and all my people will take orders from you. Only I, sitting on my throne, will have a rank higher than yours. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, God says, and Pharaoh said unto Joseph, See, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. See? And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had, and they cried before him, and bowed the knee, and made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. Right? So we must behave ourselves wisely as well. You see, hold on. 1 Corinthians 9. Yeah, 1 Corinthians 9. 1 Corinthians 9 and let's see. Strive lawfully. Strive lawfully. Here it is. 2 Timothy 2. 2 Timothy 2. It says, if a man also strive for masteries, yet he is not crowned except he strive lawfully. It says, and athletes cannot win the prize unless they follow the rules. Right? Joseph, he followed, Joseph, he followed the rules, right? We have to follow the rules too. Right? Because when Joseph behaved himself wisely, he followed the rules. He let wisdom meet him at every thought. He obtained rulership in Egypt. See? So we must do the same thing in order for us to be what? Crowned. Right? And in order for us to obtain what? A rulership over the whole earth. Right? Under our Lord Yahweh Shai. Here it is. This is 1 Corinthians 9:24. Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. See, man? So we're doing this to obtain what? The incorruptible crown. The incorruptible crown is what? Well, first and foremost, the new bodies, right? The new bodies, the crowns of life that our Lord Yahweh Shai is going to place on the heads of the elect of the nation of Israel. Right? And eternal rulership, eternal power. It says, I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air, right? But I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. See? So we must what? Follow the rules so we won't be what? Casted away. Second Timothy 4:7-8. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Henceforth there was laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which Yahweh Shai, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing. See? All right, man. So we must behave ourselves wisely like Joseph did. All right. So with that, I say Shalom.